be here.
You know, Brandon, you brought it up a few moments ago about Donald Trump and why people like him so much and why he keeps going up in the polls and why the media seems to, he's Teflon. I mean, the media can't touch him. I mean, I don't want to say can't. Maybe they will one day, but so far they haven't been able to.
Right.
The other politicians, the establishment, the Republican establishment can't touch him. They've been trying. But anyway, I've got an email here. And by the way, folks, I'll tell you how to contact us live during the show if you'd like to. But I've got an email here to you that says, hey, guys, you're right on about Trump. Says, I know that I am very sick and tired of all the spineless weasels we have to deal with. And that's from Ken out of Largo, Florida. So Ken down in Largo and all of our listeners in Largo area, thank you so much for listening today. Ken, thanks for shooting us that email. You're right. And he titles his email, Trump, say what you mean and mean what you say. Say what you mean and mean what you say. That's Trump, see. And that's why people like him. So you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
No, he's a real person using real language.
I know. And we've got a ton of other email and postings. And so, folks, hey, if you want to talk to us live during the show, we'll do our best to take a look at this stuff. You can email us at freedomfriday@netzero.com, freedomfriday@netzero.com, and or post live on facebook.com/freedomfriday.carlgallups. Okay. All right. Now, right before we went to the break, we were getting ready to play a clip. Let me give about a 15-second intro of it. We're going to play the clip. Steve, leave the microphone on while the clip is being played. And then after it, we're going to analyze it, talk about it, and tell you the ramifications of it. Of course, you're going to get the ramifications. Anyway, you're going to hear Mike Zullo and Dennis Montgomery, the confidential informant who worked as a contract worker for the CIA, who built, maintained, and operated the CIA spy program that Montgomery said he had 600 million records on very important people and regular folks all over the United States and in Arizona and in Maricopa County. And you're going to hear them talking, and Zullo's going to ask Montgomery, what could you do with this information you have? All right? That's what you're going to hear. Listen to this clip, and we'll talk about it after the clip is over.
Let me ask you a question before we go any further.
That's Zullo.
I'm a government. You know what? Through harvesting to protect the country, yada, 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 we inadvertently collected blah, 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 blah. It's innocuous information. Nothing could really be done with it.
Social security number, credit card numbers? Credit card numbers?
That's Montgomery.
What else could be done with this information? What could you do if you wanted to destroy the life of somebody with this information?
I'd go into their email accounts and I'd start uploading emails. I'd send pedophile picture links into their email accounts of pedophile kids. I'd say this guy's a pedophile. I would create a linked list. I'd upload into his email account all that. Then I'd download his email and say, look at all the websites this guy's been to. He's been to pedophile accounts.
How could you financially destroy somebody with this?
Oh, it's easy. I just go in his bank account, I go to the IRS. I'd take the information out. Let's say because I went into J. Edwards, Morgan Stanley. I go into his account, take all the information, send it over to the IRS, let him have it. Oh, really? He only claimed $87,000 this year. Well, here's all his bank account records. Oh, by the way, they're offshore. I don't know if you knew that. There's an endless way I can do it.
Endless way.
There's so much data here. There's no way to protect yourself.
No way to protect yourself.
You've got to try to convey that because the public doesn't understand.
I've already said it twice.
Okay.
And I've said it on the record.
Okay.
And what I've said on the record is, it isn't innocuous information. The problem is, who has this?
That's right.
The guy walks out of the building, that's somebody's buddy, and he's over there charging bank accounts or going into people's email accounts because he's got the passwords to them. That's why people are told to change your passwords all the time and all that. I mean, it goes on. I mean, what does the government say? We weren't document harvesting? I just showed you a letter. You want your emails? They're on there. I'll start dumping emails to you. You know, it's without limit.
Without limit. There you heard Zullo Montgomery. And Brandon, I was just thinking, as he was speaking that, Steve, keep that clip ready. We're going to play it again. As he was saying that, I was remembering, I see Mike Bates in the studio. Mike, maybe you can, your steel trap mind, maybe you can remember this. There was a woman politician, I think she was a member of Congress, somebody big in the government, that about a year or two ago, she complained. She took her computer because it was running slow, everything was messed up. She took it and they found that she was being data mined in her computer. She was going crazy. And her famous quote was, if they can do this to me, they can do it to anybody. And she was livid about it. And her computer guy dug into her computer and discovered that somebody had actually gotten into her computer. They were uploading stuff and taking stuff out.
I don't think it was a a government employee. I believe it was a journalist with either CBS or Fox. I believe it was CBS.
I think you're right.
I don't remember her name.
I think
it was
you're right.
a journalist, not a government
And it was a
employee.
woman,
Right.
and now you're correcting me saying it was a journalist, and I think you're absolutely right.
Don't
I remember
recall the name, though.
I don't either. I vaguely remember her face because I watched her react. I watched it on TV, and it really sunk into my psyche listening to this woman speak about how they almost destroyed her life, and she caught it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, thanks. Yeah, so the point is, what you just heard Montgomery telling Zullo, that a lot of people may have thought that woman journalist, conspiracy theory. Gallups and Brandon and Mike Shoesmith, everybody, we've been talking about it for years, that this technology was out there and getting worse and worse and being used. A bunch of conspiracy tinfoil hat wearing guys. Now, in the meantime, Mike Shoesmith, you're joined with us. Brandon's in the house. But now, in the meantime, Mike Shoesmith, we've got evidence right out of a federal court trial, the Melendrez trial. This tape we just played was played in that case, and you've got Montgomery telling Zullo, not only would we upload pedophile pictures, child porn pictures into your computers, but we can also create a link base, database of links to porn sites where we can go and then get access, have basically probable cause access to come seize your computers. In other words, we can destroy a person's life. Not only that, we can go into your bank accounts and manipulate that and destroy your life that way. And you heard the guy say that, Mike Shoesmith. Mike Shoesmith?
Yeah. With the latest revelation out of Ashley Madison, with the hackers going in there and harvesting their data and releasing names of famous people even and their accounts. And now today, Carl, WND is reporting that LifeLock, which is an identity theft protection company, is being forced to pay $100 million in reparations because they are not able to protect people from these attacks. And here we have evidence that, hey, you know what? This is all coming from the highest levels. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Mike. That's right. That's a headline story today. Even LifeLock.com, the premier financial and information protection agency, having to pay out hundreds of millions of dollars to customers because of breaches.
Brandon? If anybody will look this up, you can just research some of John McAfee's statements. Mm-hmm. And McAfee
software, virus software. Mm-hmm.
Listen, he's come public in the last several years and said, listen, all of this software, this virus protection software, mm-hmm. There's back doors built into all of it on purpose, most of it for use by the government.
There you go.
So, when you're putting this software on your computer to protect yourself,
right.
It's got back doors built in.
Right.
This is according to the man who helped develop it.
Right.
And he fled the country eventually over making some statements like that. He was scared for his life because he exposed some of this stuff.
Yeah, and Edward Snowden fled the country. And hey, Mike Shoesmith and Brandon Big B, think about this. Now, I'm not making any accusations, and I know you guys won't either, but let's speculate. So now, could this, something like what Dennis Montgomery exposed, and by the way, folks, this is part of the universe-shattering information that Mike Zullo had been saying for a couple of years right here on Freedom Friday. In other words, Mike Zullo was not lying. He was not exaggerating. I was not lying or exaggerating. Neither of us were just simply bloviating and blowing smoke. We knew what we were talking about. And Mike Zullo, he's the investigator. I'm just been a reporter, and I know 1/10 of everything he knows. But I knew enough to know that he was dead on. Now we also know that this Montgomery fellow is also somewhat of a con artist. And that has been proven on him as well. But that doesn't mean that he didn't have anything. And it doesn't mean that a ton of the information he brought wasn't factual information that Arpaio and Zullo laid their eyes on and watched programs run. And so there's a lot more to this than just this surface level analysis that so many people are doing. I'm trying to bring you as hard of an analysis as we can, but it's just too time consuming and too detailed. But guys, Mike Shoesmith, Brandon, I'm going to say this and I'm going to hush and let you guys talk. But this could explain things. Listen to me, folks. Could explain. I am speculating. I'm not making any accusations. It could explain why a Chief Justice John Roberts went ape crazy on the nation over the Obamacare thing.
Yeah.
Right.
It could explain why John Boehner, who was supposed to be the champion of conservatives, becomes Speaker of the House. The next thing you know, he's an Obama clone.
Yeah.
He's an Obama puppet. It could explain why Paul Ryan
Paul Ryan, I was about to say that.
Not too long ago was the darling of the Tea Party and the darling of the conservatives.
Sitting in his deer stand.
Sitting in his deer stand, going to be Mr. Conservative, and just in the last couple of days, he's basically opened the House to the Republican, opened the door to the Republican House and told Obama, walk right in and stomp all over us. We will bow down and kiss your feet.
Here's your budget with everything you want.
I mean, it could. Yeah. You just heard Montgomery say the government is doing this to people, and big people's names are on the list, including Trump and John Roberts. You guys talk.
A caller called in and gave us the name of the person we were talking
Good.
about.
Who was it?
Cheryl Atkinson.
Yes.
She was a CBS correspondent.
Yes.
And I just pulled the article from CBS, and this is what they said. That her computer, they confirmed it was hacked, and that the party, let's see, it says here, this party also used sophisticated methods to remove all possible indications of unauthorized activity. In other words, they covered their footprints. But here's what they did. No malicious code was found. Forensic analysis revealed an intruder had executed commands that appeared to involve search and exfiltration of data. In other words, they put search engine stuff on her computer to make it look like she was searching things she wasn't, and they also exfiltrated data from her computer.
Right.
So
Cheryl Atkinson, she was a CBS correspondent. So there you go.
I happen to know there are people screaming at the radio right now, Mike Shoesmith, I told you so, because listen, guys, I've been getting emails for years from people, I won't name names, saying these people are being gotten to with filth and they're being blackmailed over this stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. Boehner, Ryan, and just look at what happened to Dominic Strauss-Kahn, at the leader of the IMF.
Yep.
I mean, that man he had a maid planted in his life who accused him of rape. Once they got him out, Obama planted his girl, Christine Lagarde, who, by the way, right now is up on negligence charges in France. The whole thing was a scam, a blackmail scam to get him out, to get her in. I mean, this kind of thing, and now we have actual proof that this is going on.
Well,
hey guys, I hear you. I know you told me so. You were right.
Yeah, of course. Well, yeah. I mean, very few times have we been wrong on Freedom Friday. And I'm not being cocky. When we are wrong,
we get it right.
We get it right. But how many times have we said these kinds of things over the last several years? Brandon and I, as a joke, even made tinfoil hats.
Yeah.
Because for the longest we were streaming over Ustream.
Yeah.
We made tinfoil hats, and every time we talked about these things, we'd put the tinfoil hats on, mocking ourselves. But we knew all along, because we had sources that were telling us, look, this is going on. It's happening. But let me tell you what happened to me.
No, I was going to say, how many times, many years ago, did you and I have the conversation of how come every time one of these high-profile people falls,
right,
it's over child porn? How is that?
Right.
Why is that?
Why is it
every
that
single
everybody,
time, all of a sudden, they're child porn, they're a pedophile.
Right.
Either there are some nasty, dirty, demonic things going on at the highest levels, which there are.
With all the leaders.
With every single one of them. Now, I don't believe it can be across the board. I just don't believe that. Or this stuff is being planted when people become expendable.
Because right now,
that's the easiest out. What infuriates the public the most, even in the prisons.
That's right.
In the prison system, where you've got the worst of the worst, a child rapist, a pedophile is in danger for his life.
That's right.
You and I know people that have been sent to prison for that, and we know that the stories that they've been given as their fake prison stories to keep them alive.
That's right.
In prison.
That's right. So
there you go.
Because of pedophilia.
Yes.
And you see, and Mike Shoesmith, that's the deal, is that because now if somebody says, okay, we got porn on your computer, I mean, they could say, well, everybody has that, which, I don't, and Brandon doesn't, and but people can say that because, you've been able to buy pornographic magazines at Tom Thumb, that's a local thing, at your local convenience store for decades in America.
Sure.
So that's not so, quote, bad. But child pornography, and that's the one that pops up over and over and over and over and over again.
Right.
And you just heard Dennis Montgomery, who's developed the software to do it, now is saying, I've got 600 million records. I can do anything I want to anybody. 600 million, folks. That's a half a billion. All right, now, let me just tell you what happened to me. This is anecdotal. But when Zullo started testifying in the Melendrez case, during that time, and I called Zullo and told him this. We talked about it. During that case, my computer slowed down to almost sludge. I called my wife and I said, what is going on? My computer's just... So I got about 10 pieces of anti-virus stuff and ran it day and night, day and night, day and night for a week. And you know what I found? I found 2 keylogger softwares and a Trojan software that when I researched that out, it says that it's used specifically to upload stuff into people's computers. And it happened to me during the Melendrez case. Not before, not after, but while Zullo was testifying. Somebody uploaded keyloggers, which they were tracking everything I was typing.
Sure.
And or they were going to create fake records of what I was typing. And Trojan uploader into my computer. Why is that? Well, because Zullo's testifying. And I suppose, I'm just guessing now, perhaps they want to know if Zullo and I were talking and emailing and, and what it was. And then, I'm telling you guys, folks, we're going to have to take a time out. We got to take a time out.